Hello, entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining my channel today, Discovering Beautiful Minds. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about your genre and your subgenre. So grab your pens and your notebook and let's dig in. Hello, entrepreneurs. Well, let's get right to our topic of today, your genre and your subgenre. What type of writing do you want to do? What is your niche? Are you thinking about doing fiction? Are you thinking about doing nonfiction? Well, the possibilities are endless. I kind of want to just talk to you today about knowing your genre and your subgenre. So, for instance, I write fiction. What type of subgenre do I write? I write realistic fiction, and I also write contemporary women's fiction. So, with the category that I write in, if I am writing a story about a female character, which is my MC, my main character, that particular story may have a journey of a woman that is going through something that is very realistic. So when I write a women's contemporary story, I am talking to the women audience coming from a woman's perspective. I'm just basically giving you a story about a woman, but it's from a woman's perspective. But when I write realistic fiction, I write about a male or a female, and it's about realistic events that can happen to anybody, has probably happened to someone. So if you are thinking about fiction, I want to give you a couple of categories for your subgenre for fiction. You can write fantasy, sci-fi, romance, thriller, suspense. You have all different types of categories that you can write in. I love dystopian novels, for example. But if you are thinking about writing nonfiction, you're talking about something that is true. You're talking about information that you may have written about that you are very privileged to because of your career. If you are writing a self-help book on how to lose weight in 50 days, I don't know, then you're going to write a self-help book on a how to lose weight. So you have your self-help books, you have your biographies, of course, you also have your reference books, your textbooks fall under this category. You also have essays, memoirs that fall under this category. Okay, so you got to kind of find out when you want to sit down and start writing, know what type of writing that you want to talk about. What is something that you feel closest to? What is something that you feel dearest to? You may even want to write a spiritual book. You may want to write something about your journey, so your memoir. When you're sitting down and you're deciding, hey, I want to become a writer, that's wonderful. That's great. However, you also have to sit down and decide what is something that always rings so dear to you when you go inside of the libraries, when you're buying books off of Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle. When you're going to buy your book, what type of book are you usually buying? So that being said, make sure as a writer, when you're starting off, you're just beginning to say, hey, I think I want to try my hand in becoming a writer. Make sure that when you sit down, you know what type of subgenre that you want to write in after you, because pretty much we already know what type of genre we want to write in. We pretty much already know if we want to write fiction or nonfiction. But once you know that, you may decide you want to write fantasy, but it's okay if you write sci-fi or dystopian. And matter of fact, I want to point something out to you. Some books fall under the categories that links across different subgenres. So for example, you do have certain books that will fall into nonfiction, not nonfiction, that will fall under sci-fi and thriller. Okay, you also have books that will fall under categories that may be realistic fiction and sci-fi. So you do have a choice. I don't want you to think that you just have to narrow down to one. Sometimes your book will cross different subgenres. So know that. That is a good point that I wanted to make sure that I pointed out to you. And then I want you to understand that when you're just starting out as a writer, don't let anyone tell you what you should write, because no one knows what you should write better than you. Oh, well, you're better at this. You should write a self-help book, because you really give good advice on how to grow your hair. But what if your heart is saying, I really love sci-fi and I would love to tell a sci-fi story? Know what's in your heart to write, and try not to be swayed with writing something different, because you have to be authentic to who you are, because your readers are going to pick it up. They want you to be as realistic and authentic to them as you are to yourself. So stay true to what you know that you feel most comfortable with writing, and make sure that you understand that when you do decide to start writing, it's okay to write sci-fi and thriller. It's okay to write romance and realistic fiction. Some of those categories, they're going to cross each other, which is fine. But with that being said, entrepreneurs, if you like this content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and also hit that bell so that you can get updates every time I post my videos. So thank you so much, entrepreneurs. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Grab those pens and don't forget to write.